Charlie is a reclusive, overweight English professor suffering from heart failure. He has only 5 days left to live and seeks redemption with his loved ones before he dies. Given that society is often cruel to people like Charlie, he prefers not to be seen. During his online classes, he pretends his camera is broken, and when he orders food delivery, he asks for it to be left at the door to avoid being seen. One day, Charlie experiences severe chest pain, believing he is about to die from a heart attack, and starts reading an essay on Moby Dick that seems very important to him. Just in time to save Charlie, Thomas, a missionary from the New Life Church who goes door to door preaching, arrives. Charlie asks Thomas to read the essay to him because he wants it to be the last thing he hears before dying. As Thomas reads it, Charlie calms down. Suddenly, Liz, Charlie's best friend and caregiver, arrives. When she learns Thomas is from the New Life Church, she immediately throws him out, as she has a personal grudge against that church. Liz helps Charlie daily and worries about him, urging him to go to the hospital for medical help because he will die soon if he doesn't. Charlie tells her he has no money to cover the expenses and prefers to die at home. However, Liz doesn't know that Charlie actually has $120,000 saved, but doesn't want anyone to know for some reason. Knowing he's going to die, Charlie wants to reconnect with his daughter Ellie, whom he hasn't seen in 9 years. Charlie had been married to Mary and had a daughter with her. For his current situation, Charlie taught in person and met Alan, one of his students. They spent time together, fell in love, and Charlie decided to leave his family for him. Ellie was 8 years old when this happened. Charlie reaches out to Ellie directly without Mary's knowledge and convinces her to visit him. Ellie arrives, acting cold and harsh, saying she only came because she wants help with an essay she's on the verge of failing. Charlie wants her to keep visiting and finally convinces her by offering money. However, Ellie is very resentful. The abandonment has made her reject everything. She has no friends and constantly bothers everyone around her. She tells Charlie she hates him, that he disgusts her, and if he loves her as much as he claims, he should prove it by standing up without his walker and walking towards her. Charlie tries but struggles and gives up. Ellie, furious, storms out of the house. Liz discovers Ellie visited Charlie and scolds him, fearing this might hurt him since his daughter is quite problematic. Missionary Thomas returns to see Charlie, but Liz encounters him again and, angry, takes him outside to explain why she hates the New Life Church. It turns out Liz is Alan's adoptive sister. Their father led the New Life Church, where both were raised with strict rules, including total rejection of homosexuality. When Alan met Charlie, he decided to give himself a chance to build a life with him. When he saw his family again, his father condemned him, separating him from his family and the church. The rejection was intolerable for Alan, leading him into a deep depression and an eating disorder. Alan didn't eat for weeks, lost extreme weight, and eventually took his own life by jumping off a bridge. This triggered depression in Charlie, believing he could have done more to save Alan, causing an inverse eating disorder where he ate compulsively, leading to his current condition. Liz finishes telling this to Thomas, but he still believes God put him there to bring his word to Charlie and will return. Ellie continues to visit Charlie, and he uses these meetings to repair the damage and reconnect with her. He tries to convince Ellie she's a good person, but she tries to prove otherwise. Ellie accuses Charlie of not trying hard enough to stay in touch, and he reveals he tried, but her mother didn't let him. Ellie then prepares a sandwich for Charlie, but spikes it with sleeping pills, intending for him to sleep so she can smoke peacefully. Thomas returns, and while Charlie sleeps, Ellie pressures him to smoke, and he gives in. Ellie reveals she discovered the New Life Church no longer has door-to-door missionaries. Cornered, Thomas confesses he is an ex-addict who ran away from home after stealing money from the church, believing saving Charlie will redeem him. Ellie secretly records the confession and sends it to Thomas' parents. The next day, Thomas returns to tell Charlie he is thankful for what Ellie did because his parents reached out, welcoming him back. Finally, Thomas tells Charlie he now understands everything and believes to be saved, Charlie must renounce his homosexuality, as it led to Alan's death. Charlie, angry, reveals it was his church that caused Alan's death and his current condition. Thomas leaves in disgust, never to return. Later, Ellie visits again, and Liz and Mary, Charlie's ex-wife, arrive. Ellie reveals to Liz that Charlie had saved a lot of money and offered it to her. Liz didn't know this and gets angry with Charlie, as he assured her he had no money for medical help. Charlie was selfish, as Liz made many sacrifices to help him. After the argument, Liz leaves, and Charlie and Mary are left alone, reminiscing about moments from their lives, especially an afternoon at the beach with Ellie. Mary reveals she didn't let Charlie see their daughter all these years because she feared being judged as a bad mother due to how Ellie turned out. She says Ellie isn't a good person and mistreats others. Mary tries to encourage Charlie to use his money to go to the hospital, but he believes Ellie is inherently good and the money is strictly for her to have a decent life, saying it's the only good thing he has done. Mary leaves, and the beginning of the end starts. Charlie orders a pizza, but this time the delivery man waits on the stairs, curious to see Charlie. When Charlie opens the door, the delivery man sees him, looks at him with disgust, and leaves. The delivery man represents society that judges and humiliates people like Charlie. After being seen, Charlie eats compulsively to alleviate his emotional distress and emails his students, asking them to ignore assignments and send him something honest from their hearts instead. This doesn't sit well with the university, and he is fired. In a final video call with his students, knowing he's dying, Charlie decides to be honest and turns on his camera, showing himself for the first time. Some students take pictures, and others laugh, but Charlie still believes in people's goodness. The humanity of a person doesn't rest on the size of their body but the size of their heart. Charlie ends the video call, encouraging his students to be honest and act with their hearts, then throws the computer at the refrigerator. Liz knows Charlie has little time left. They talk emotionally, and she finally forgives him. Ellie arrives, very upset because Charlie changed her assignment to the Moby Dick essay, causing her to fail. Charlie admits he made mistakes, hurt others with his decisions, wished he had done things differently, and did his best to make amends but still lacks something. He wants to convince Ellie there's love in her, proving it by doing what he couldn't in their first meeting. On the brink of death, Charlie asks Ellie to read the Moby Dick essay, which turns out to be something she wrote as a child. It was important to Charlie because it was all he had of her all these years. Ellie, in tears, begins to read, and Charlie tries to stand and walk towards her. Ellie, who had only shown aggression, admires her father's effort to walk. It's a great struggle, but Charlie advances with effort. As he approaches Ellie, she shows him love, and Charlie finally dies, illuminated, returning to the happy memory of the beach with his daughter. Charlie found redemption by repairing and gaining forgiveness for his mistakes. He ended the final chapter of his life honestly, being authentic, expressing his feelings, and admitting his faults. The story teaches us that being honest with ourselves and others can prevent and repair much suffering. Despite our mistakes, we shouldn't self-destruct. Charlie's debilitating condition is an analogy for guilt, which can incapacitate us. Sometimes, we feel the weight of our failures and think we don't deserve forgiveness or love. We are human, we make mistakes and can hurt others, but we can admit our faults, forgive ourselves, and honestly reconnect with loved ones. It will take much effort, but it's worth it because that's where true value lies.